What if Earth lost all its coral reefs? Imagine a world where Earth's coral reefs have vanished. Imagine the silence beneath waves where once a riot of color and life thrived. To truly grasp the weight of this loss, let's journey through what would unfold if our planet lost all its coral reefs, unraveling the complexities and cascading consequences that would ripple across oceans and continents alike. It starts beneath the water, in regions now barren, where life once gathered in spectacle and diversity. Coral reefs are often called the rainforests of the sea, and for good reason. Occupying less than 1% of the ocean floor, these structures are among the most diverse and productive ecosystems on the planet. They provide food, shelter, and nursery grounds for approximately a quarter of all marine species, thousands and thousands of them, from the tiniest invertebrates to the sleekest sharks. Without coral reefs, this intricate web unravels. First come the most obvious changes: the loss of the corals themselves. These living animals composed of countless polyps building skeletons of calcium carbonate over centuries. Without their living framework, the reefs cannot rebuild. The bright colors fade to dull grays, and the elaborate structures collapse into rubble. Organizations of fish, damselfish, parrotfish, wrasse, lose the nooks and crannies where they hid from predators or cared for their young. The astonishing diversity that once defined reefs dwindles as fish migrate, dwindle, or disappear altogether. This loss is not limited to aesthetics or diversity. The fish and marine life dependent on reefs represent a lifeline for over 1 billion people worldwide. Coastal communities, especially in developing nations, rely on reef fisheries for their major source of protein and livelihoods. With reefs gone, fish stocks plummet. Gone are the pink snappers, groupers, and angelfish, replaced by emptier oceans and struggling communities. Fishing families lose more than income. They lose a cornerstone of their diets. With the ocean's bounty diminished, hunger and malnutrition tighten their grip in places that can least afford it. Tourism, too, suffers a dramatic blow. Coral reefs attract millions of visitors each year. Scuba divers and snorkelers travel across continents for a glimpse of living reefs. These visitors fund hotels, guides, restaurants, and shops, providing economic lifeblood to entire regions, from Australia's Great Barrier Reef to the reefs of the Caribbean and Southeast Asia. In a world without coral reefs, these tourist economies collapse. Beaches adjoining former reef sites start to erode without their protective barriers, becoming less attractive, more hazard-prone, and less inviting to visitors. Local unemployment rises, poverty deepens, and cultures shaped by centuries of reef coexistence must adapt or perish. But the ripple effects of vanished coral reefs reach far beyond their immediate surroundings. Coral reefs, despite their tiny footprint, act as storm breakwaters for millions of kilometers of coastline. By absorbing and dissipating wave energy, these living structures protect communities from the worst ravages of storms, cyclones, and hurricanes. With reefs gone, storm waves strike directly, unimpeded, accelerating erosion, flooding villages, and destroying infrastructure. Cities that were once protected now bear the full brunt of the ocean's power. Insurance premiums soar. The frequency and cost of disaster relief efforts skyrocket. For those living on small islands, the threat is existential. Less land, more risk, dwindling options for relocation, as the sea continues to reclaim what was once held at bay by coral. Coral reefs also serve as silent partners in the global fight against climate change. Modern corals absorb and lock away enormous amounts of carbon dioxide in their skeletons. Over millennia, these deposits help buffer the planet's carbon cycles. The slow dissolution of reefs, or their erosion in a world without them, would abruptly halt this natural carbon sequestration, potentially releasing even more carbon dioxide over geological timescales. Meanwhile, the loss of reefs disrupts the balance of marine ecosystems in ways both subtle and profound. Algae, freed from competition with living coral, quickly overgrow dead reef structures, forming slimy mats that suffocate what little diversity remains. Once vibrant areas turn to sprawling monocultures of algae and jellyfish, species that thrive in degraded, nutrient-heavy waters. The decline of small reef fish opens opportunities for other less desired species. The ocean's rhythm shifts, the midwater food web quakes, and the transocean migrations of larger animals are disrupted. There is a cost to humanity not easily measured in markets or statistics. Throughout our history, coral reefs have inspired art, poetry, and mythology. Their radiant beauty calls to divers and dreamers alike. They have, for generations, offered a connection to the ancient rhythms of nature, a reminder that in the dance between land and sea, there existed a realm of unparalleled marvel and mystery. In a future where these wonders have perished, there lingers not just ecological grief, but an anguish of the spirit, an impoverishment of the human experience itself. To fully understand what we lose, it helps to reflect on the scope of coral reef services to the planet. Their foundations, millennia in the making, represent a living, breathing record of Earth's story. Their destruction tolls the bell for environmental decline on a planetary scale, a sign of the acceleration of climate change, ocean acidification, and unchecked pollution. In scientific terms, the loss of these communities reduces the resilience of the ocean itself. With reefs gone, the ocean's capacity to recover from disturbances, natural or human-induced, is deeply compromised. Fishermen return with empty nets, their stories growing longer as their catches grow slimmer. Communities that once danced to the tides of spawning fish and colorful reef feasts hold on to memories of abundance. As tourism businesses shutter, infrastructure quietly rusts. Schools and hospitals, once maintained with the proceeds of a healthy reef economy, fall into disrepair. Some governments, pressed to provide basic services, look elsewhere for answers, often forced to consider development decisions that bring further environmental strain. Island nations find themselves battling on two fronts. Not only must they confront the economic and social turmoil of collapsed fisheries and lost tourism, but they also face existential threats from the elements. Without reefs, the land literally disappears. Saltwater intrusion destroys agricultural grounds. Freshwater aquifers are corrupted by the rising sea. Inhabitants, forced to contemplate relocation, struggle with the loss of home and heritage. Centuries-old villages sink beneath the waves, their stories silenced by the advance of the sea. In the absence of reefs' biodiversity, scientists lose invaluable opportunities to discover and harness marine resources. More than half of all existing marine drugs, medications for cancer, heart disease, viral infections, are derived from reef organisms. The loss of these treasures means new cures and medicines may remain forever undiscovered, locked away in genetic vaults, now drowned in silence. Our global ocean becomes a place less vibrant, more unpredictable, poverty-stricken in ways differing from how we typically measure wealth. And these changes, these losses, do not confine themselves to remote islands or third-world coastlines. They resonate far beyond, affecting multinational seafood supply chains, altering migratory patterns of marine mammals and seabirds, perturbing the circumpolar flows that modulate our planet's climate. Teachers and parents find themselves explaining to the next generation what a coral reef was, pulling up old images and documentaries instead of planning field trips. Museums attempt to simulate the experience, but a hologram cannot capture the rush of swimming through living color or the microcosmic complexity of a polyp colony. Biologists, chemists, and environmentalists review decades of research, chronicling not just a vanished ecosystem, but a cautionary tale for the planet itself. How did we reach such a fate? The answer is complex, but rooted in human choices. Coral reefs today face unprecedented pressures: warming oceans, acidification, overfishing, pollution, destructive development, and runaway coastal construction. The compounding impact of climate change and pollution weakens corals, leaving them vulnerable to disease, bleaching, and death. As carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere rise, ocean water becomes more acidic, dissolving the very skeletons that support corals and the species that rely on them. If nothing is done, the what-if scenario becomes a vision of the coming century. The world may see its first coral reef extinction event, not as a sudden catastrophe, but as a slow decline. Reefs fading away in silence, unnoticed until their benefits are truly missed. Yet, Even in this bleak projection, there are lessons for the future. The stark picture of a reefless ocean forces us to confront the true stakes of environmental stewardship. It shows, beyond abstract numbers, what the loss of natural wonders means for real people, real communities, real futures. It is imperative to remember that coral reefs, though fragile, can be resilient given the chance. Healthy reefs recover from storms, disease, even bleaching, if key stressors are reduced and recovery pathways preserved. Marine protected areas, restrictions on destructive fishing, wastewater management, and reduction of greenhouse gas emissions all play critical roles. If society values reefs for the vast services they provide, their preservation becomes a shared priority, not just for scientists and coastal communities, but for everyone who cherishes clean air, fresh food, and a planet that thrives. Science tells us that coral reefs, once lost, are nearly impossible to recreate. Their structures form over centuries. Their communities evolve through thousands of years of interaction among creatures, currents, and chemistry. Restoration projects, while promising, are expensive and slow. They cannot keep pace with the climate change-fueled challenges reefs face. The best hope, then, is robust protection of what remains, coupled with aggressive mitigation of the threats that push reefs toward collapse. The tragedy of losing all coral reefs, then, is not just environmental. It is economic, social, cultural, and psychological. Their absence echoes through every level of the food chain, through every link in the human societies built on their bounty, through every scientific endeavor that depended on the wonders lying just beneath the waves. In the final measure, a world bereft of coral reefs is missing more than color, more than beauty. It is missing an essential part of its own heartbeat. Each reef is a library of species, a protector of shores, a pharmacy of potential, a nursery for the future. Their loss reminds us of the urgency to safeguard what remains precious, a lesson that, if taken to heart, may yet ensure that our children and grandchildren inherit a world still vibrant with coral gardens. As we imagine those future generations, we see children learning to swim in protected lagoons, young scientists marveling at new coral spawn, communities celebrating a bountiful catch, and travelers finding inspiration amidst rainbow-colored shoals. This vision is only possible if we act before the what if becomes what was. The reef's survival is not just about saving biodiversity, it is about sustaining ourselves. Let this imagined loss be a rallying cry for action. Let the vision galvanize efforts to protect, restore, and cherish these jewels of the oceans. For in safeguarding coral reefs, we are not just saving other species, we are preserving the foundations of life, prosperity, and wonder for all who share this planet. Thank you for watching the video. What do you think about today's topic? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and share the video to support the channel. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.